Congress has introduced over 1,763 pieces of legislation since January 3rd. Hello, today is March 4th, 2025, and in this video I'll be discussing a random group of legislation that has either been introduced recently or passed the House recently. So let's get started. H.R. 1643. To reduce from 21 years of age to 18 years of age, the minimum age at which a person may obtain a handgun from a federal firearms licensee. This was introduced February 27th, 2025, by Tom Massey, who's a Republican out of Kentucky. There's no text on this one yet. I'm going to take it as exactly what it says. I'm torn on this one because I want stricter gun laws, but also I don't think it's right to put a gun in the hands of an 18-year-old and tell them they can go die for their country, but then not let them have a gun when they come home. So that one I've always been a little torn on. You can't say it's okay if they're fighting for the country, but they're not mature enough otherwise. H.R. 1762. To amend the Department of Agriculture Reorganization Act of 1994 to provide that the President shall appoint, by and with the advice and consent of the Senate, the Chief of the Forest Service. I found this one interesting. This is another one of those micromanaging things. So, it was introduced on the 27th of February by Ryan Zinke, who is a Republican out of Montana. So, I decided to look up how the Chief of the Forest Service is placed in their job currently. Currently, this person is appointed by the Secretary of Agriculture. The current Secretary of Agriculture is Brooke Rollins, who was this POTUS's pick. Brooke Rollins chose Tom Schultz the day this bill was introduced. All I can think is that POTUS doesn't trust Brooke Rollins to pick a person he would approve of. So the Republicans want to change the way that the position is chosen. Micromanaging we're seeing from this administration is insane. Okay, H.R. 1761, to amend the Federal Reserve Act to require the Secretary of the Treasury to print a $250 bill featuring a portrait of Donald J. Trump and other purposes. I hate other purposes. I hate when they put that on there. 22725. It was introduced February 27th by Joe Wilson, Republican out of South Carolina. He said he wants to symbolically recognize the President of the United States during the semi-quincentennial anniversary, which is the 250th anniversary is next year. So they want to print money with his face on it. Here's the problem. I did some research on this. I found out on military.com there's an article that says why American currency can only feature images of dead people. It was written by Blake Stillwell. So Spencer Clark, who was the first superintendent of the National Currency Bureau during the Civil War, Congress had decided to honor William Clark of Lewis and Clark, but they only wrote Clark in the bill. They didn't specify William Clark. It's probably why bills are so long now. So Spencer Clark took that opportunity to honor himself and put his own face on the bill. So I went to nowiknowwhy.com and found out that Martin Russell Thayer, the Republican out of Pennsylvania, wrote legislation barring living people from being depicted on U.S. money. The Thayer Amendment was signed into law April 1866. So there is a law that says because he's still alive, he can't be on a piece of money. They do it so that we make sure the person is actually an awesome person. HR 1753 to provide tax incentives that support local media. I can't wait to read the text on this one. It was it, this one was introduced on February 27th by Claudia Tenney, who's a Republican out of New York, with Suzanne Delbene. I am probably mispronouncing that. I should have looked it up. Who was a Democrat out of Washington. Yeah, again, I can't wait to read the text on this one. Given the issues around media right now in this country, I can't even begin to understand what they mean by this one. Okay, HJ Resolution 42, providing for congressional disapproval under Chapter 8 of Title 5 United States Code of the rules submitted by the Department of Education relating to Energy Conservation Program of Appliance Standards. Certification requirements, labeling requirements, and enforcement provisions for certain consumer products and commercial equipment. This was introduced on February 12th by Andrew Clyde, who's a Republican out of Georgia. Sounds just as it is. I read it. They just don't like appliances that save people money by saving energy. That's it. And I'm guessing that was brought to us by the fuel industry, who, I'm not going to get on my soapbox. You can figure that one out. HJ Resolution 61, providing for congressional disapproval, same as last one, under Chapter 8 of Title 5 United States Code of the rules submitted by the Environmental Protection Agency relating to national emission standards for hazardous air pollutants, specifically rubber tire manufacturing. This was introduced on the 25th of February by H. Morgan Griffith. He's a Republican out of Virginia, and it sounds just as it is. They're anti-clean air. Rubber manufacturing plants can do whatever they want. I live down the street from a company that makes asphalt roofing, and the smell, and it's rubber burning. It smells like rubber burning. Some days it's so bad you can't breathe. I can't even imagine living next to a rubber factory. Okay, so these bills have already been passed. HR 804, Rural Small Business Resilience Act. This one says this bill requires the Small Business Administration's Office of Disaster Recovery and Resilience to take necessary actions to ensure that individuals located in rural areas where a disaster has been declared have full access to disaster assistance. Such actions include providing targeted outreach and marketing materials of such individuals. Not exactly sure how we're going to do that. So we took it from FEMA and we're going to give it to the Small Business Administration. So once again, we're going to have it's all going to be broken up, right? FEMA's all going to be broken up into different places. And so it's going to be duplicative. It means you have to apply for assistance in 7 different places. That one was introduced by Kelly Morrison, Democrat out of Minnesota, and it was passed 415 to 8. I understand passing the law. This was bipartisan, so knowing that they're getting rid of FEMA, we needed to have a way to get money to the small businesses. There we go. HR 788, the Department of Education and the Small Business Association Research Act. This one was introduced on January 28th, 2025 by Nick LaLota, Republican out of New York. Okay, so the summary. of this one is, this bill requires the Department of Education and the Small Business Administration, Department of Energy, I'm sorry, education on the brain, to enter into an agreement to collaborate on research and development activities. These activities must include, as appropriate, small businesses. The agencies must report on any collaborative research, achievements, and potential opportunities to expand the technical capabilities of the agencies. That one passed 427 to 3. HJ Resolution 20, providing for congressional disapproval under Chapter 8 of Title 5 United States Code, again, disapproval, of the rule submitted by the Department of Energy relating to Energy Conservation Program, Energy Conservation Standards for Consumer Gas-Fired Instantaneous Water Heaters. So, on-demand water heaters. They don't like the standards. Yeah. Okay. So this was introduced the 15th of January of this year by Gary Palmer, Republican out of Alabama. Summary says the joint resolution nullifies the rule titled Energy Conservation Program, Energy Conservation Standards for Consumer Gas-Fired Instantaneous Water Heaters, and submitted by the Department of Education, Department of Energy, on December 26, 2024. Under the rule, Department of Energy adopted amended energy conservation standards for gas-fired instantaneous water heaters to achieve the maximum improvement in energy efficiency, and that they determined was technologically feasible and economically justified. They want to protect us. That's all they want to do. That was passed 221 to 198. Okay, so let me hear what you think about these laws. Please hit the like, share, subscribe. Let's get this out to as many people as possible so that we all know how our representatives are actually representing us. Thanks. Have a good day.